Hey, it's me, Holly, and I want to talk to you today about nourishing yourself. And there is one place that I know that is the place that I go a lot of the time to nourish myself, the forest. So I've, taken all my gear here today. I've walked down one of my favorite trails to record this for you from my nourishing place because I think it's really important. So as moms, we are givers. Man, are we givers. We give so much to so many different people every day. We make sure those kids are well cared for, well bathed, well fed, and all of that kind of stuff. And make sure our husbands have what they need. We do little tasks for them to make their lives easier. And we nourish people around us through great conversations with friends, being there for people when they really need us. As women, we're so good at nourishing, but there's this one person that I think we forget to nourish a lot of the time, and truly, it's the most important. It's us. We forget to nourish ourselves. This is a really big deal. If we don't nourish ourselves, we can't actually help anybody else. We can't nourish them. Because the whole thing always starts with you. The ability of what you can do, the nourishing you can do of others, it all starts really from the nourishing of ourselves. So when we nourish ourselves, we have more to give. We have more nourishment for everyone else. It's that whole airplane thing where they tell you you put your mask on before you put anyone else's on. It's the same thing. So it's really important to find nourishing places and spaces for you. And I'd love to tell you my nourishing space is the spa and I can go all the time, but that's not true. I have to find these little pockets of time in which to nourish myself. I need to find these little spaces I can go to nourish myself that fit into my real life. Whether I have 5 minutes between school drop-off and work, or whether I have, an hour to hike out to my favorite sports spot, we need to find these places and spaces and just moments where we can nourish ourselves. So I want to tell you some of my favorite ones that I do for myself. In the morning, I like to meditate. I like to get up earlier than everyone else. Sometimes that's 5 a.m., sometimes that's 6:30, it really depends on the day. But I really just like to take 15 minutes for myself to meditate, clear my mind, give myself some time. I started with guided meditations through, free YouTube ones, and then I moved to some different meditations, and sometimes now I just sort of listen to sounds around me and feel into those. It's my kids' giggles, it's the ravens chirping in the forest. It really depends. I also like to take some time around lunch, and even as a busy working corporate mom, I had some time around lunch that I would take for myself. And sometimes that means, buying yourself lunch, your favorite kind of lunch. For me, it's always sushi. And taking a time out and just going to a different environment, getting out of the office, not eating at your desk. That can be a really nourishing moment as well. One of the things that I always loved about commuting was it gave you that period of time between you going from work mode into home mode. And so that's a really good time where you can nourish yourself through great tunes in your car. You can rock out to your happy music, your angry music, your sad music, whatever you're feeling, you can do that. You can listen to incredible, nourishing podcasts during that time. I would have books. I'd have audio books that I would download. And so if I didn't have time to read, I could kind of get some of that knowledge in during those times. There's a lot of ways to nourish yourself. It doesn't have to be a cucumber face mask. There's a lot of different ways it could look for. For me, I always came back to the grounding of outdoors, of nature, of the wilderness. And so even, throwing off my shoes and walking on the lawn for 10 minutes for me was incredibly grounding and so important for my mental health. taking a time, you know, taking that lunch, and instead of having someone prepare you something delicious, taking that time and hiking a trail and maybe just having licorice for lunch. It doesn't have to look crazy fancy. It can look whatever it feels right to you. Those things that you love and those things that make you connected. These are ways we nourish ourselves. I have other friends who are great artists, and so they nourish themselves through doing creative endeavors. They nourish themselves through, you know, painting dollar store canvases or sewing something or knitting something or doing a creative endeavor. It's all about what nourishes you. It might be trying an amazing new food recipe with an ingredient you've never done before, discovering wild plants in your backyard and what they are and what they do, and you know, who is the essence of that plant or who needs that plant. There's lots of things you can do like that. We don't have to be looking for a really formal, really structured event. So I challenge you this week, write down 3 things that make you feel nourished, whether it's having a great conversation with your partner, whether it's taking a hike down your favorite trail, whether it's trying a creative endeavor, you know, making an incredible bouquet with a brand new flower to you, whether it's trying that art project, and you can call it a project, that's cool. Take some time to figure out what nourishes you and do one of those things this week, because it's time to put your own mask on first. It's time for us to take those times to nourish ourselves, because when you come back from that nourishment, man, you're the best person you could possibly be. You're the best mom, you're the best worker, you're the best wife, you're the best partner. You're just truly great because you've taken that time to really nourish yourselves. I'm going to talk in another episode about longer nourishment, when we need to kind of get out and have some time to ourselves in a longer way, you know, a weekend, a night out. I'm going to talk about that later. But for now, just find some of those little pockets of time that you can really call your own. Meanwhile, I'll be here enjoying the forest today for my little nourishing moment. Talk to you guys soon.
Thanks for taking the time to watch my video. For more amazing tips, a little bit of farm life, you can follow me at holly.larochelle on Instagram, or you can subscribe to my channel by hitting the subscribe button below. I look forward to talking to you again soon.